burgers ever.
Three people. Closing the traps. That's the last breath. And Chiefs are looking for the big V here. It's still not over. I can't believe it, Bryce. And it looks like they're going. Oh my God. And he's going for more. The double kill for the Jing. Order cannot be stopped. This is just absolute destruction right now. And all of a sudden, Mimic comes to the party. He does get a massive stun, and that turns it right around. You've just got to give an absolute standing ovation to the heirs apparent of the OPL.
Welcome to the League of Legends OPL Grand Final!
4 splits, 4 titles. They cement their legacy as the OPL Kings.
Hello, welcome to day 2, week 2 of the Split 2019 OPL. What? Split 2. Welcome, everybody. How are you? I'm Nick Boy Richardson. I am, of course, joined by my two favorite people in the world, Ejim and Rusty.
What?
It's not Rusty.
Your microphone has done something so weird.
Oh, no,
We can't do it.
Do you need a knife?
We can't fix it. Why are you holding a knife, Ejim?
I don't know.
You know who this wouldn't have happened to, Rusty?
Well, you know what? Well, he couldn't be here, so you've got to come to terms with that, Nick.
Very true. So it's a little different today. Welcome, everybody. We're excited for you to join us for the OPL. It is a little different, obviously, because we're all standing here. Hingers is here.
And Pyra's back.
According to chat, Hingers is still alive.
Right
and that's
here.
surprising. And Pyra's back.
Yeah, Pyra's back.
That's exciting.
We made it.
How have you been?
I've been real well. Since last I came on here, I think I tried to run for the Senate. I committed some low-level electoral fraud. That was fun.
Yep.
Yeah, got a call from the AFP asking me not to do that. It's fine. We've cleared it all up. I'm not in prison. Everyone can relax.
And you come crashing back down to the
exactly.
OPL.
I didn't realize there were like semi-serious repercussions.
Yeah.
That's actually...
It wasn't super fun. Because
Yeah.
you always think to yourself, like, whenever the cops come for you, you're going to be like, I don't care. I'm going to tell them what for. And then as soon as they call you, like, I'm so sorry. Don't hurt me. I don't want to get in trouble.
I like as well that you said you always think when the cops come for you, not if the cops come
Oh, sorry.
for you.
I'm talking to two white people here. You
That's
don't understand.
we-
The police sometimes.
We are the police, buddy. Well, I'm excited to have you. I'm glad you didn't make it to the Senate because it means you wouldn't be able to join us for today. Because today, I wanted to tell you, this isn't the OPL anymore. Today, it's the LCS. Welcome to the LCS, where we're going to spend the whole day cooking shit instead of doing anything remotely close to productive, except for, of course, the League of Legends games that are going to be played. And Bryce, they're all going to be
A banger.
bangers.
No, a single banger.
Let's.
Only one.
I think let's go through the games first.
Okay.
And then we can get into the actual good stuff. So let's bring up the sketch and see what we've got planned for today. First up, Gravitas versus Direwolves. Direwolves, surprise win yesterday over Order. I'm sure they're going into this with high expectations, Gravitas. Something to prove.
Yes.
Bombers versus Chiefs, game number 2. Legacy take on Mammoth, undefeated so far. Mammoth, not Garut. And then finally, Order going head-to-head with Avant Gaming. Rusty didn't leak a single piece of information before he left about the Avant lineup.
Look, he wouldn't have been here to face the repercussions, so he could have got away with it.
That's true.
That would have been the perfect crime.
The other thing.
I'm muted. Am I live? I'm live. Yeah, we're live. The other thing is, like, he said he didn't leak anything, and then immediately after the show, they were like, "Thank you so much for Sybil and Isles for playing the 3 games. Best of luck in the future." Like, we don't know who's playing tomorrow.
Yeah, totally. I checked that because I was like, maybe that was an hour ago, 15 hours ago.
Yeah.
Rusty.
That's a rookie error.
Hey, is anyone? Are you guys surprised that Mammoth are 3-0 undefeated? Is this a thing? Is this
You fucking staunch.
No, I'm not necessarily surprised. Like I said yesterday, I'm happy for them because it feels like they were trying very hard for this last split, and it's Fall Jones. And it does mean that they've finally pulled it off, mentally speaking.
Yeah, definitely. Like this is the split they wanted to have at the start of the year, right? This is the start. Like they pulled together a bunch of top tier talent, and now they're actually Having a banger start to the season.
Nice. Why are we folding our arms?
I think
no
I
idea.
folded my arms, then you folded your arms, and then he didn't have the arms folded, and so there you go. Welcome to the LCS. I mean, this is just the kind of thing you expect from the LCS. So, cooking today. Instead, we'll still do some game analysis, but all day we're going to prepare 3 meals. So we're going to prepare an entree, a main, and a dessert for the casting team because they are going to need
Somebody needs
refreshment.
to try it. Yeah.
Exactly. Encouragement. They talk a lot. And so they need some support.
Sustenance.
Some delicious, nutritious fuel for them.
Exactly.
On this big day of casting.
The meals will have to have some sort of league theme, but it doesn't need to be too
Oh,
stringent.
this is new.
I didn't throw this in the last second.
Okay.
And
Alright.
you can only use these ingredients, which I hope the table cam is active. So we've got these here, and you can only cook with this thing. So you can only use a microwave, and you can only use what's on the table.
A USB 3, like,
You can see
you
just...
got 2 ports there.
You can use that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
just if we go back to the mic cam for a second, you can see that Nick's laptop is on the top of the microwave.
Correct.
Now, I'm not a microwave or laptop expert, but I imagine that's not healthy for either of those items.
You're right. Just put that in there.
And in we go. Safe and sound.
Right where Twitch chat belongs. All right. So that is what we're going to be doing. Entree, main, and dessert. What could possibly go wrong? Cooking
Literally
only
everything.
with a microwave. And ingredients that I would say I came up with maybe 30 to 40 seconds worth of thinking.
This one right here is definitely my favorite. This is my
sure.
favorite ingredient.
The budget couldn't stretch to fresh fruit.
Oh,
Do we have any fruit?
You have the Starburst fruit mix.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I didn't even know. God, that's butthole. Okay.
And of course,
Sure.
And of course, at the end of the LCS, as we always do here in the LCS, we will be also playing the MPL. And Hingers is going to be joining us.
Oh yeah, what are we playing? Some ARAMs tonight?
We're going to be playing some ARAMs with some randos. You could be one of those randos. We will reveal a password right before we go live with the game. So please come along and win. We had a 50-50 win rate yesterday.
Yeah, but then we got sniped by some sweaty gamers, and look,
They were very sweaty.
that was like a 5-stack in Discord.
I think we could all agree that one didn't count.
Yeah, I
That one
agree.
didn't count.
Yeah.
All right, but something
You
that
got me
does
this time,
count.
so it's going to be good. you know?
Exactly.
I'm
Something
gonna-
that
I'm
does
gonna
count,
carry you.
though. Game number 1, Gravitas versus Direwolves. Potentially, well, definitely the first banger of the night. Potentially the banger of the evening, because I have no idea what's going to happen in this game. Very excited to see what's happening with Direwolves and whether Gravitas can turn it around the beginning of their, slightly disappointing opening to the split. But let's throw to the desk with Benji and Sport.
Thank you, Chef. Iron Chef Nick Boy. I just found out that we've got to eat that food.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped about it because if there is anyone I want cooking for me, it's Bryce, who definitely cannot cook anything without packet instructions. The vegan, being a pure meat eater, that doesn't really sound all that great. And Nick Boy. I think Nick Boy can cook.
If anyone out there could book me into a hospital to get my stomach pumped later, I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, we're about to hit into the McDonald's Champions Select spawn for our first game of the
Certainly
day.
are.
It is Direwolves, who yesterday, to me, their last split wasn't so great, but yesterday they proved to me that they are a team that could do anything in this league.
Yeah, and I think the league is wide open at the moment. I think that Direwolves played really, really well, especially Raze. I think Katsuri had a improved performance, and they played off-meta stuff, which is really nice to see. I've always said, so you kind of got to play what works for you. At the same time, Gravitas had a really impressive early game yesterday against the Chiefs. They kind of gave over the best 3 picks in the meta, and then were still able to have a pretty successful early game. So I'm pretty excited about this one. It's also really hard because Order played yesterday with a sub, not saying that's any kind of excuse. That was certainly, as a person that comes up with the tactics, that was the winning tactic that I had, and it certainly didn't work well in the end. So both of these teams, I think, have had a mixed bag so far because Direwolves kind of fell down early versus Legacy. Legacy then beat Order. Direwolves beat Order. It's very hard to kind of put together any form of table right now, Benji.
That's what I love about this league, this split so far, Spawn. From yesterday, though, you're right. Order did have a sub-roster, but one player that really stood out for me that I'm curious to see if he can do it today, again, is Raze.
Yep.
His performance yesterday was, honestly, I was very surprised. I have expectations for players, and some of these imports, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to be good. But he really stood out for me, and if he can play out a good performance today, then I think Direwolves have got to look at the rest of the split and go, okay, we can actually make an impact here. Maybe we can make playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Raze is one of the few players that I didn't have any questions about because I've watched him play before. He's a very good player. His Gragas was honestly phenomenal. He finished the game like 7-0 and 6 or something along those lines.
AP Gragas.
Full AP Gragas. Multiple times was able to catch Order out in that mid game when it's all important to be able to get plays together. And I think, you know, the rest of the team just played a really good supporting role behind him. He kind of solo carried the game for my eyes. A couple of key bindings from Totoro coming through, and then obviously just that big, beefy front line. But once again, Gravitas are going to be looking at this game. They're going to be disappointed with a 0-3 start. Juice behind them probably has a new and improved strategy from yesterday. I'm not sure I agree with handing over Aurelia, Sejuani, and Camille. We'll see whether they take one of those champions for themselves today, Benji.
Yep, looking at the bans coming through quickly. They've taken Nautilus, Nico, and Zaya off the board. And the flip side, Direwolves have taken off Sejuani Sona, waiting for their last ban now. Like you mentioned, Gravitas currently the only team in the league that hasn't got a win. Now, we're only week 2. It's still early days. We don't expect them to go completely unwinned. I don't know what's the opposite, undefeated in this split, but still, like, you don't want to be trailing the pack this early. You want to be keeping pace with the teams. Most teams are 2-1 or 1-2, so getting that win now keeps you in the pack. Obviously, Mammoth are the only team out at 3-0 right now. Last ban is Pyke, and they are picking up Yuumi as their first pick.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we've seen the priority of Yuumi continue to go up because it has been paired successfully now with 380 carries. The Sivir, as well as the Ezreal and Lucian, all 3 of them are on the board. However, that is currently one of the strongest champions in the game in Aatrox. I think that Aurelia is also certainly up there and would not be surprised to see them just both snapped up.
Absolutely. Biopanther picking up Aatrox. I remember when Aatrox first got reworked, he was the first player to pick it up. I remember it was...
Rift Rivals?
Rift Rivals last year, yeah.
Rift Rivals last year. I watched him play it in solo queue a couple of times. He said it was fairly good. Not the perfect build worked out back then. Certainly some iterations have been done now to come to the lethality, pretty much full AD build.
Yeah.
But certainly is a very good Aatrox player.
Yep, been playing it for a year, so good pickup for him. Not just powerful, but also something he's comfortable with. Lucian, the other pickup here for most likely Katsuri. And then on the other side, we're seeing that Ezreal that Raid has defaulted to quite a few times so far, actually.
And this is really surprising me because there has been no Aurelia priority being put on by either of these teams so far. Silas is certainly a very good champion in the current meta as well, up there in S tier, but it's just going to fall completely through.
Wow, okay. Luck's the final pickup here for Get Back, and well, most likely for Totoro, actually. Get Back has selected it. Second ban phase coming through here. Aurelia, the name on the lips that we're talking about here, might fall all the way through. Still some solo lanes that need to be picked up here for both teams. But, yeah, that's interesting that they've locked in Ezreal so early, actually. I'm kind of surprised by that. Because it's not a pick you generally... Well, once Lucian's locked in, and it's not really a surprise pick. I wonder if they're a bit concerned about Raid getting targeted in the second phase by letting it fall through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, if Ezreal and Sivir both got removed there, it would have been a bad thing for that bottom lane. If you've taken support so early, you need to be able to round it out with a good comp. I think Lux was also pretty easy to foresee down there, so you want something to be able to dodge out on a lot of that early game damage and kind of lock down CC. And I think that right now Gravitas has got a fairly flexible core, and you would have to say the same thing about the Direwolves comp, not really giving anything away. Yep,
looking at the second round of bans, Olaf Skana taken off the board, targeting down Praelis in the jungle. On the flip side, we've taken Ryze off the board, one of those solo laners. Aatrox, as a top laner for Biopanther, used to be played mid for a while. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, absolutely can still be a thing, especially into melee matchups. Don't know really how it's going to go against a full AP Silas because he just has really good wave clear for days. And I like the fact that these jungle bans have come through because Praelis is a fairly good tempo jungler. What I mean by that is you pick one of the junglers that clears the jungle very, very quickly, and then you get somewhere early on the map before your opponent. You start looking for counter ganks, you start looking to solo out objectives. That's kind of Praelis' style, in my opinion. I think Raze right now goes towards a much more aggressive jungler in the Lee Sin. And, you know, if you fall behind on Lee Sin, in terms of camps, it can be quite a difficult game, and obviously looking to have a little bit more of that early game impact.
Yep, that last ban was Jax, of course, as we see Lee Sin locked in. Something that we don't see too much of in this league, but I'm not surprised after yesterday's performance. Raze seems like a jungler that wants to make those big plays, and Lee Sin's a way to do it. We're seeing Aurelia drop down. That is, what, 8th pick in this draft?
Yeah.
That is a long fall.
Really, really late pick coming in, and Rek'Sai going to be there as well. Pretty good counter to Lee Sin, to be honest. Wins the duels early. Kind of falls off a little bit harder, though, in my opinion. And Raze has already played a Lee Sin game. It was against Legacy in his first game in the OPL. Of course, they were able to pick up that victory. And Akali, one of the few answers to Aurelia left up and available, given the fact that Jax was burned away, should be taken here by Biopanther. So that might be the get back Aatrox.
Absolutely. It looks like that's what they're hovering on right now. We'll see, obviously, the 22nd mark is when we sort of know it's all locked in. So keep an eye out for that. So I think it's interesting because both sides, you can run Aurelia mid here and the Silas top. So if they're looking for a particular matchup, I wouldn't be surprised to see even once you get in game a lane swap here, try and get the favorable matchup if you think you've got it. That being said, obviously, there's more than just matchups in this game. Player skill and comfort in their lane is important too, but that's still a bit away here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is about those lane swaps is putting a mid laner in a long lane generally doesn't work because the way the wave bounces is actually just very different. How you stack top lane waves for dives and things like that, or to be able to get good recalls. A lot different from mid lane. You can't really triple stack a mid lane wave, although Swiffer tells me you can every now and again. And I think that when I have a look at this lineup, I think Gravitas have now today come out with a much better composition. I think that this is a really successful draft. I'm so surprised with how far through Aurelia has gone, and a lot of pressure now is on Raze to be able to dodge out on Prayless early game and get something happening.
Absolutely. So there's the McDonald's champion select completed. We have our lineup as we are ready to jump onto the Rift. Where are you looking in this matchup? Where do you think the volatility is? Where do you think the teams are looking to win this?
Yeah, I think that off the bat, you have to look at the mid-jungle 2v2 right now. I favor Gravitas's because they have the mixed damage. They're going to have physical as well as ability power damage coming out of the Rek'Sai and the Sylas. At the same time, you know, Aatrox at the moment is real strong. You get hit by one of those Qs and that dash hasn't been used. It kind of is like a 60% chunk early on in the game, especially if Electrocute is taken. So I think that that's where the focus will be from both of these teams. Try and get control of that mid lane and then be able to pressure the rest of the map.
Absolutely. We're on Summoner's Rift, Week 2, Day 2, Game 1. Gravitas versus Direwolves, as we see both teams fanning out across the river. Looks like a passive start, just looking to get some scouting and information to start with here, although we do see Biopanther slowly rotating down here. Nice wide shot there. You can see the players moving back and forth, a little jostle for position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what was happening there is if Prayless and Pabu had moved in for the red buff ward, then Get Back and Biopanther would have looked for a little bit of a pincer. In saying that, you know, not the best level 1 from either of these teams. I would probably favor Direwolves slightly outside of the Ezreal. But you can just see 5-point defense coming out from both of these teams. No shenanigans. We've seen shenanigans go very right and very wrong in the OPL so far. And just not risking it this game, Benji.
You don't want to have that level 1 that goes badly and then you're down 2 kills. And like coming back from that at this level of play is difficult. And solo queue happens all the time because you go to lane, you kill 3 times, you're good. But in pro play, no, once you lose those 2 kills early, that's lane pressure gone, and then the map's sort of snowballed out of control a bit from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Raid and Decoy are very worried about it late in Fade here because they stayed on the opposite side of the red buff, which means the leash is not going to be as good as it could have been. Prayless, however, going to get the full leash. Decoy is a real kind support right there. And you can see the wave pulled here by Katsuri and Totoro. That means they're trying to deny 1 minion of experience and allow the wave to push back into them. Obviously very nervous about the Rek'Sai early ganking path into bottom lane. Yep,
of course. You see on the top side there, Lee Sin did start red, but with a ward down from Aurelia, that was also spotted out as Biopanther went to lane. So both junglers should be aware they're starting opposite sides. Shouldn't be too much hidden information now. They should have the key on what's going on.
Yeah, and the path I like to take on Rek'Sai, especially when you've gone Hail of Blades, which pretty much means you need early ganks, is to take these Raptor camps and then just walk straight into topside jungle. So I'd be, you know, yelling at Harry that I need mid lane priority right now, that off this bounce on the turret, I need to be able to get into that bottom side. I want to try and get behind the Lux as well as the Lucian. Potentially, I want to even look for Get Back in the mid lane from a very nice angle from behind blue. But you can see that that's been spotted out immediately by Get Back, and Prayless is going to have to pull clear here, which is certainly not Rek'Sai's strength.
No, absolutely not. Raze, of course, was spotted by that ward, so both teams keeping very good tabs on each other's jungler right now, which is something we usually see, but sometimes don't. It's good to see both teams are keeping the discipline up there. Raze is moving down here. He's out of vision, a little sneaky. That's very tight vision, actually. He's going to run right into the bottom side jungle. It's going to be empty, but he might be rotating down towards the bot lane, which is pushed forward slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice trade there from Harry. And if this gank doesn't work, this is a really bad path out of Raze because he has no camps to tank down there. And you can already see the Rek'Sai will be 2 camps ahead and probably will just go straight for the Scuttler. So, gank is coming through.
Yep, CC goes down. There goes Ezreal jumping back. They get some poke, but not much. In fact, they lose the trade there. Totoro, Katsuri taking a lot of damage there from the minions as he steps forward.
Yeah, and I always say, you know, give me that many caster creeps because as soon as they auto, as soon as you auto a champion, they just start bullying you immediately. You can see that that has meant that 3 camps down now for the Lee Sin, obviously on the right side of the map to be able to catch back up.
Yep.
But a very good job here from Prayless, shepherding the top lane wave, maybe even looking for a gank onto Biopanther.
This is the counter here. So whilst Race is in the bot side jungle clearing his, Prayless has already done his. He can't take anything away because nothing exists, but now Biopanther is kind of caught out. He's getting jumped on here. Puts the Shroud down. Praelis is not going to catch him with the Prey Seeker. He's going to jump under his turret. He gets away.
Yeah, absolutely. However, now he knows that Praelis is up there. The wave is still pushing against Biopanther. Shroud is down, so he's going to have to be a little bit more careful. There are some very creative paths you can use on Rek'Sai just due to the tunnel mechanic. See whether this is another visit into the top side or whether it's a mid-gank instead.
It's a mid-gank. Aatrox here getting caught. He's actually got a lot of damage taken back. Hayri chunks him right down. He's the one who has to flash out.
Yeah, that's really strange. I didn't expect Silas to have so much priority in this mid lane. You know, we mentioned that we thought that that was going to be a Biopanther Aatrox. Instead, it goes to get back. Let's see whether the young man can kind of recover from this, because not necessarily a get-back champion, in my opinion.
He does lose a few crepes of minion to that. Has to blow his teleport as well. But in the end, both junglers have done that full clear. You see down the bottom here, Rek'Sai rotating down, looking to make a play in this bot lane. Katsuri, Totoro very forward. Lux is low on mana as well. There we go. CC coming down, looking to slow down. Ooh, doesn't hit the flash. Still gets a slow, the knockup. Lux is low, Lux is dead. First blood to Ezreal.
Yeah, really nicely done there. Raid's just controlling the wave masterfully. You can see had fallen down in creeps, however, with that gank and first blood, as well as a couple of stacks of gold, should be able to get back in and take these creeps very nicely. The freeze is also going to be enforced. That's just really great play from Gravitas.
There you go. So Gravitas taking an early lead in this bot lane. Now the question is this going to keep snowballing, or is the Direwolves going to be able to put some pressure or maybe hold this? Katsuri obviously survived, but the kill on Ezreal means that back can teleport back into lane. He's got his Sheen now.
Oh, Yuumi didn't get on the teleport. A little bit strange there. Normally you like to see Yuumi jump on for the teleport and not have to walk back to lane. Actually one of the lowest base movement speeds in the game, Benji. I think somewhere around 330, yep.
Taking a gentle stroll back to lane here. Ezreal does get a bit of solo experience. I don't know, maybe there's a reason for it there. Probably just a small mistake though. Looking around the map though, got in the top side, Raze is now clearing the top side. Got to teleport back to lane by Pabu. So this here might be, no, he's going to move back down to the bot side. Looks like the bot side is where Praelis is focused for now, and Raze is rotating back down. He wants to apply that same pressure.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a really nice ward there from the Direwolves. You can see one pink ward on the blue buff, as well as that ward just on the ramp there. Raze going to do a very nice job of being able to get some further vision down. So good control so far from the Wolfpack. Even though they lost the first blood, still trying to be proactive with their vision.
Yep. Down a little bit of gold, but I think as far as everything goes, wow, that's a lot of poke on that Ezreal, in fact. Still a bit of mana here, in fact. It's going to be a very poke-heavy lane with Yuumi and also the Ezreal there. Jungle being taken. Pabu's come down, though. Get back's caught out. He's having to ult. He's got his ult on the turret. They might be able to get into him out of his ult form, or wait for it to run out. Or they do wait for it to run out. Prey Seeker goes down. Picked up by Pabu there, and just a straight kill.
Yeah, the change to Aatrox's ultimate on this patch was the fact that you have to kill someone now to get a revive. It's just a massive movement speed and AD boost, as well as the fact that you get a lot of healing, both self and from others. So the fact that he had the ultimate on there doesn't mean he's immune to the turret dives anymore. Still going to be able to get under there and impact the kill. That's really nicely done from Pabu. He uses the ultimate, uses the flash, but that is now a very hard winning lane for the Gravitas lineup.
Absolutely. That's the mid lane. That's the bot lane. The jungle is obviously the jungle. So now the top lane is really where you've got to look at if you're a Gravitas or a Direwolves fan. And actually, it looks like Pabu's ahead there. He got the kill there. He's still got a CS lead. Turret plates haven't been taken out. So Raze not made the early impact that Praelis has so far in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're kind of saying, is that the priority should be with the Rek'Sai. He's much better early game jungler, in my opinion. Still pretty good at level 6 as well if you are ahead and able to get towards the warrior. Great chunk coming across from Raid.
Well, Totoro there has to put that shield up. He's in low health, but they do take the dragon. So Direwolves to pick up that first one of the game. They get an objective back. But, you know, not quite the same as getting a bit of gold. They are down about 1,300 right now.
Yep.
Not insurmountable, but not good.
Yeah, certainly impactful at this stage of the game. You can see Praelis also doing his best to sneak away some more buffs. Obviously, Raze uses a lot of his time, or as we call it most of the time in League of Legends, tempo, to go for a dragon. For the team-based objective means that he will lose out on the red buff. Certainly will impact ganks as the game goes on, but you can see already level 6. Shouldn't be that much of a worry.
Absolutely. Just a little bit too late there. Mountain Dragon, pretty good. Next one is spawning as well. So, you know, these are objectives that are impactful. These are ones that can help you take objectives and turrets later in the game. So we'll see the next one. If Direwolves get 2 of those Mountain Dragons, then you've got a way back into the game. Not that they're out of it, but you've got a good way they can play the game there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, whether it's through something like a Baron, whether it's a Siege that can be set up with all the poke in this comp. helps out the 1-3-1 a little bit as well. But I would say certainly not the most impactful early game Dragon. Probably want something like an Ocean, to be honest, at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that what we're seeing right now is, you know, just a great start from Gravitas, and I expect the game to probably slow down from here.
Absolutely. So let's take stock of the numbers across the map right now. So mid lane, obviously, we said Silas was a bit ahead. He's got about, what's that, about 400 gold? That's like a longsword lead, longsword in a pot.
Yep.
Bot lane is where we're also looking 400 gold there as well. So, you know, another longsword in a pot. And then in the jungle, everything else is pretty even actually. So really, when you look at the advantage for the Gravitas team right now, as far as like items, 2 longswords, 2 potions. That's basically what we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that even though that doesn't seem like a big deal, if you ever traded against someone when they have a longsword and you don't, you lose every single time.
Yep.
So it's just the little things, and this is why League of Legends is such a snowball game. That's going to be the Yuumi ult.
Oh, we got 3 people down here now. Praelis takes him down. Lux doesn't even have a chance. CC'd. Oh, wow, catches that. Katsuri under turret takes a lot. And that's gone from him having sitting under turret and CSing to him having to back and getting a free push for Gravitas here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they could have even maybe looked for the kill there. One Prey Seeker, Flash is still available. Out of Praelis, they had the heal, they had the ignite. I'm surprised that was such a disciplined call off of the gank. Certainly could have been the 2 for none special there. And I think that Gravitas right now playing probably the cleanest early game we've seen out of them so far. This is very clinical, very slow play.
Absolutely. Now, the question for me is now, how do Direwolves play this one? They're getting pulled across the map. They're getting ganked, and it's working. They're trying to pull off their own plays. In fact, I don't actually know if Raze has really done much here in this game to be a little bit critical of him. He's done a few objectives. He's farmed his jungle. Actually, he's been spotted out here as well. The vision on both these junglers, mostly on Raze, has been phenomenal for Gravitas. It's shut him down.
Yeah, absolutely has been. However, now with the flip coming in and Raze starting to try and do that Rift Herald, not going to work out. You can see already Ezreal and Yuumi up in that top lane. They have teleport nearly available from Harry. So this is probably a play that's going to have to be called off.
Yep, we do have the Gravitas coming in. Bio Panthers join the fight too. So 2v2 for now. The nearest person's Aatrox, and the bot lane's coming up too. This is looking like it's going to be a 5v4. The only person not here is Pabu on Aurelia. He is in the bot lane. He has not got teleport available. So it looks like Direwolves here, with the numbers, should be able to close this out.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty critical mistake there from Raid. He actually went straight to top lane wave, didn't want it to freeze on him, so tried to get it to hit turret. What that means is, you know, they don't have the numbers advantage anymore. He hasn't come straight to the fight. He hasn't used his poke on Ezreal to be able to chunk someone out. That means that they lose Rift Herald. They're going to be able to get a plate in the bottom lane at least and a plate in the top lane. So that's probably what a Rift Herald charge is worth. But maybe an objective they didn't need to seed with how much control they had over this game.
Exactly. You're right in that the charge is pretty similar trade there, but if they pop the Rift Herald at the right time, it has the potential to do a lot more. You can take a full turret with that if you pop it at the right moment in the right lane, whereas like they're never getting more than a couple of plates from that there. Looks like they've got one in the top and one in the bot total.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, once again, just spread out gold coming across. However, now it's to the effect of, you know, 2,500. You can see camps still being taken away. And this is very deep vision set up for the Direwolves. However, the fact that Gravitas are playing so far forward means that they're kind of not getting all that much from these wards so far.
Correct. Here we got Get Back clearing its mid lane. A couple more plates being taken out there. Those plates have only got about a minute and a half left on them. So now's the time to take those if you want that bit of additional gold that you really don't get access to after that point. So it's just goes wanting if you don't grab them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that Raze, once again, has vision on him. It's going to be into the duo lane. Right now, Ezreal is certainly still stronger than the Lucian. It's going to be an item and a half versus just an item. So the fact that he's up here to try and drop this Rift Herald with double teleport, with only a single teleport available, is a little bit strange to me. However, it looks like it will land at least.
Yep. If you don't pop it now, you're kind of not really hitting it on plating, so you're losing a bit of the value of it. There you go. You should be able to get that next plate as well if they really want to focus it down. There you go. So 3 plates from that one, 4 total on that one. So that's pretty good value.
That's really passive play coming out of Gravitas again, however. Once again, just electing for the cross-map trade, not wanting to explode the game. And if this top lane turret falls down, that is a big swing back in the Direwolves' favor.
Yeah, the bot lane is backing out. This is the turret. Now, in the bot lane, though, Rek'Sai's moving into that jungle to try and do some counter jungling. He's going to take away that Gromp. But, I mean, really, that's the first turret's a big swing in gold. And look at that gold difference now. Back to 1,500 when it was already starting to blow out a bit further than that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they've just made up about 1,300 gold just purely off the turret and off all the additional CS that Katsuru was able to pick up. Once again, now they get access to the top side of the jungle. Gravitas have to play a part of the map that I thought they were just outright stronger based on, you know, the last 2 ganks that we saw on the back foot.
Absolutely. Blue buff taken away. And actually, timing-wise, the blue buff on the other side of the map hasn't spawned yet. So all that really Praylist gets from that is a Gromp and a pack of wolves versus this blue buff in the top turret. He does get the Mountain Dragon. So an odd trade, but I feel like Direwolves, considering the game position, would probably be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely stoked. You know, they deny a blue buff off Harry. He's playing the Silas, certainly likes the cooldown reduction. That control ward not going to spot anything, so they know exactly where Harry is. He also did an A-click through that brush, which means that the blue ward's going to stay behind him. Always A-click on your way to lanes.
Yep, or just be observant at least, I don't know.
Well, most of the time you're not looking at your own champion. You're looking at where waves are positioned. Maybe you're looking for a teleport play, although Harry's isn't up. So I can forgive that. All you have to do is hit attack move, however, and you're going to be able to clean up everything along the way.
Yep. See Direwolves pushing this bot side of the jungle, getting some good vision down here. Clearly they're setting up for this bottom turret. They want to get that, that's the next objective they're looking at. See Aatrox is down there, Lux is top. You can't walk through this jungle right now without Direwolves knowing where they are. Mid lane is also the focus, so between these 2 lanes, looking to connect some turrets. Panther on the top here trying to kill these minions off the turret. Praylist takes a lot of damage there.
Yeah, certainly does, however, will heal up, and now Biopanther is in dive territory. So very good trade, however, Direwolves once again just being proactive. They're to the push first. They're going to be able to clean up this bottom lane turret. You can see they're also using some of their time to hit mid lane turret. Just across the board, the team that I felt like was so significantly far behind is just ahead in tempo every single time and able to get first to the play.
Getting turrets left and right. Obviously, top and bot now dead. It's going to be answered in the top lane by Gravitas. There's still one behind. That bot turret there is unanswered currently. Oh, here's a little setup here. Raze and Get Back looking for Pabu. Flash comes out, kickback goes. Get Back looking to carry this one on. Pabu's in all sorts of trouble, and he's going to fall down. Oh, barely almost takes him out in the mid side. In the mid lane, though, we just see Yuumi trying to turn it around. Lux throws out the laser, and that forces Gravitas back to tower.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you can see that Pabu just not being patient, not taking the safe lane back to mid lane. You already called it, Benji. They have complete control of that bottom side jungle, and it is made paid. However, Katsuru now, without much support around him, does need to be a little bit careful of that poke.
Shield does run out, and if Ezreal hits another Q, suddenly it's kind of like, ooh, if they can follow up on that. But no, he does clear the wave. Look at that bot jump. That's the key thing to that gank right there. Look at the minimap right now. You can see there are 6 wards in that jungle. That is a great amount of wards. And Praylist is going through and clear them out now, but it's too late. They've bought the kill, and they've bought the tempo that get Direwolves back in this game. The gold now, down to 1,000. That's shrinking and shrinking as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that even further than that, right, that they're getting, you know, very good position over the map and the ability to make proactive plays. Gold is only how strong you are. If you can still get more members to that fight, you know, the 2 versus 1 that we just saw enacted, you know, Pabu's never going to be able to win it. Nearly was able to trade back, however. And I think this now comes down to what play does Gravitas actually look for, because they have been very reactive so far in this mid-game, and that's kind of what we saw yesterday against the Chiefs.
Well, they're just giving up their mid-turret here. No one is here to answer this. The AD carry and support have come in. Teleport's coming through, but I feel like that's a bit of a mistake from the Gravitas line up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they do get back. They're going to be able to save the turret, but certainly a valuable resource now being used in that teleport. Dragon is only a minute away, so certainly want to be able to get control of this. If you lose your mid lane turret, you just have no ability to be able to get the vision you need to check things like Dragon and Baron at this stage of the game.
Yep, looks like they're coming in now. CC going into Katsuri, gets blown up. He's dead. Gravitas going to push forward here in the mid lane. He evaporated.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing about Yuumi. She's just so great with these bruises that are so popular right now in League of Legends. One of the reasons that I was so surprised to see Aurelia fall this far through the draft. Pabu hasn't even played a spectacular game, but still 2-1-0. Has, you know, that advantage over the Akali in the side lane. It's going to scale so nicely into the late game.
Absolutely. That looked like a very clinical sort of map movement oriented Direwolves there, but it just takes that one pick. They lose that 80 carry and suddenly their mid lane is blown open. Control over this dragon that is spawning in 10 seconds is completely conceded as Direwolves are just running out of their base. Big swing once again into Gravitas' favor now.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I was saying, right? If you lose mid lane control, you lose control of the 1-3-1. If they can push it to your tier 2 especially, however, teleport now coming in, that's from the Akali. Direwolves want to fight this.
They do. Biopanther's caught out. There are 2 back there. Hayri and the Yuumi are back there. Lee Sin coming to join. Dragon is taken by Gravitas. Now is there going to be a follow-up fight? There's really nothing to fight over. Both teams kind of poking around. Don't want to cede up position too easily. They want to get to this mid lane and take this turret as well. You see Direwolf starting this siege. Got a few minions and should be able to clean up this turret here and at least answer it. But still, they're still paying for that first loss. In fact, look here, there's lots of poke going down. Flashes and stuff are forced as players jump forward. Silas jumps forward trying to catch Totoro there. Biopanther jumping out.
Look at the slows.
They're popping everything, but this Yuumi is stopping them from retreating. Get back. And the rest of the Direwolves are forced back into their jungle, and once again, Gravitas have control.
Yeah, and that was 3 flashes used. Like, that was a play that the Direwolves look for. Sure, they get mid lane turret, but they have to use flash on Biopanther, Get Back, as well as Totoro. That means the next team fight that, you know, Parbu is able to dive into, that Harry is going to be there for, they're just going to be able to clean up. No mobility available out of these key champions at the moment. So I feel like Direwolves kind of overestimated how strong they were at that stage of the game and were really made to pay.
Absolutely. The Gravitas also did a great job in sort of rotating safely to that lane. You can get there quickly, but sometimes you get caught off in the rotation. But they're like, you know what? We can give up this turret. There's no reason engaging before we're ready to engage. See Payless here back to his jungle as the team sort of reset. I want to slow it down a little bit for now. There the jungle's out. Get the vision reset up because a lot of it has been cleared out. Although on that bot side, you must take notice. Gravitas have got a good ward system going on in that blue jungle on the bot side.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of cheeky vision over by the blue buff. Going to be able to see if, you know, any support for a potential gank is coming in into Get Back's lane. You know, we talk about this a lot, but when you're the Aurelia in this situation, unless you can outright 2v1, have to be very careful in where you catch the wave because you are in the longest lane in the game. Whereas Get Back's lane, a little bit shorter because of that tier 1 turret. But with control over this mid lane, they should be able to now continue to support Aurelia in the side lane. And this is an area of the map that Gravitas have always kind of been one of the best teams in the OPL. Their 1-3-1 is very clinical.
Yep, you see the True Shot Barrage coming out there to clear this wave. Gravitas rotating into this jungle here, clearing at the top side. Now, the reason they're doing this is that Baron has now spawned. And whether they want to take it or not, setting up vision and maintaining it is something you always want to be doing when it's an objective that is threatened by either team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's an easy way to generate picks in the topside jungle, right? If you get vision on the Baron, you duck into Vulgar War for 15 minutes, 15 seconds, all of a sudden, you don't know whether they're taking it. Totoro, no flash.
Wow, he's caught out. CC going in. Yumi's doing a ton. Team is getting picked off. It is a 1-for-1 as Prelitz goes down, but it's just the support going down. So Direwolves with 4 here, looking to turn this one around. Harry on the front. Oh my god, Pabu is doing a ton of damage. Aatrox is dead. Biopanther has to go over the wall. He arrives just in time. He's going to pick up a double kill, and Gravitas win the fight.
Yeah, and the only reason they don't go to Baron is because Prelitz is already dead. Expect to see something like a stopwatch coming out, stopping that from happening in the future. However, mid lane turret now should be Gravitas's, and that's another team fight victory for the team from Melbourne.
Absolutely. They're going to pull this one down. Are they going to back out? Most likely. Reset some of that vision through the jungle on their way out. Katsuri deals with that minion wave. Gravitas now pushing out to a 3, almost 4,000 gold lead.
And this is the thing, Benji, is on the current patch, Aurelia is so strong. We've seen a couple of team fights in a row now, the ability to just get the ultimate across. It guarantees the stun. You know, we have a look at this. Yuumi comes in, really nice ultimate onto Totoro. We already mentioned the lack of the flash based off the last kind of engagement. And this is just where Pabu arrives. You know, great two-person stun into the resets. The mobility to be able to chase the Akali of all champions over the wall and just the sick damage that comes out at only 2 items at this stage of the game. Clean itemization into both AD and AP champions. You know, this isn't even the wit's end that we're seeing that would really make Biopanther's life miserable if it ever came out. Pabu certainly has complete control of this game right now.
Absolutely. We'll see if he can continue that, obviously, with a split push as he returns back to the bottom side of the map. That tier 1 is still there. He's probably eyeing that one eagerly. A nice bit of gold that could extend their lead even further. You have to remember that even though they have a lead, they are even turrets, so they did take the mid lane just then, but there is some potential easy goal for them on the map still.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even beyond kind of leading in that, they're just got the 2 Mountain Drakes, so if ever they win a fight, it's going to be a very easy Baron.
Absolutely. Hayri culling at his opponent's team here. I wanted to make note, actually, Biopanther was in the red side jungle, just then got chased out by Pabu whilst this little siege was going on. But more back and forth here by these 2 teams, grouping up once again. Feels like these two teams push lanes out, then return to the mid lane. Don't want to get caught with a numbers disadvantage here.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see right now it's the Direwolves that are losing heavily in the side lane. Top lane wave already crashed. They're getting none of that Golder experience. Bottom lane, the exact same thing is happening. So Gravitas can just leave this forever. Waves are going to take a long time to bounce back, and you know, no pressure for the Gravitas lineup to break kind of this mid lane siege.
Absolutely. That bot turret was taken by that creep wave that was set up by Pabu there. So Direwolves unable to react. Unable to save that turret, and that is another chunk of gold going into the back pockets of the Gravitas team here. See them maintain this mid lane. Sars rotated top now, looking to push down that tier 2, the next objective they're looking at. But Direwolves don't feel like they can chase through there, especially with the amount of vision in that top jungle there.
And you can see that every time Biopanther tries to rotate up, Gravitas just dug into the top side fog of war. Harry now on the turret has played beautiful bait. This should be the Baron started up, and it should fall so quickly. Double Mountain Dragon at this stage. Pabu just going to play goalie.
Absolutely. Half health from that Baron. Double Mountain Drake. They are chunking it down. Prayless is low though. They don't fancy themselves on being able to take it fast enough. They are going to peel off, and escapes very successfully.
I mean, Biopanther had to use teleport again, so they win this play. You know, all of a sudden there's a huge discrepancy. You know, 2.5 minutes behind those two teleports. Pabu, when his is back up and available, just going to be able to push this bottom lane wave. He's 4 kills and a level ahead of Biopanther at this stage of the game. So no answer going to be there in that bottom lane push, and that was all Gravitas were waiting for. You know, the overcommittal of resources to try and stop that Baron.
Absolutely. The Baron pit littered with wards currently. There's a few of the pink wards there sort of keeping vision on both teams. If Direwolves didn't react fast enough there's a potential to just lose the Baron. That would have been absolute disaster for them. So you've got to give it to them for being able to apply the right pressure despite losing a cooldown to deny that objective. Looks like Gravitas were going to continue forward with that if nothing was done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I still think that maybe even Gravitas could have completed the Baron, even with Biopanther teleporting in, because they had the Lee Sin kick to get rid of Raze. You know, they would have been able to play Shepherd with the Aurelia, and it was down to about 5,000 health. But Gravitas are one of those teams that they just don't take any risks. They play a very methodical style of League of Legends. This game going to be no different. You know, now they know they have the stronger side laner, so they'll just look to continue the push in the bottom lane. And I don't think there's any way that Direwolves even win the 4v5 if they aggro the Baron. So pretty much complete control right now for the Gravitas lineup.
Absolutely. Aurelia, like you mentioned, is pushing down there. Aatrox returning to the top lane. Applying that counter pressure there. Top lane turret is the one that's low on health. Actually, a bit of hope coming out there. You got to be careful right now. There's only 3 in this mid lane for Direwolves, so these jump forwards here with Yuumi. Catch a slow, you can follow up there pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing that they're doing a great job just farming side lanes better. Even though it is Katsuri up 20 CS, that is primarily from the laning phase. Whereas the side laners on the Gravitas lineup, you know, plus 30 CS right now for Pabu and plus 60 CS in the mid lane for Harry. However, now they want to engage.
Prayer's going to jump on there. Pabu does get a CC down Totoro. He's getting jumped on. CC going down. Lee Sin and Raze is already dead. Totoro's followed up. The team can't react fast enough. It's as the team collapses in. 2 of the members are already dead, and they're running through this jungle, potentially towards this Baron.
Yeah, that should just be Baron there. Very clean play coming through from the Gravitas lineup, and, you know, kind of a disastrous draft coming through from the Direwolves here. You can just see how much strength this double bruiser front line does give the Yuumi, and Totoro, even with Flash, just cannot escape from the chase potential right now of Gravitas.
Free Baron for them. Direwolves not even trying to react to this one. They're pushing down mid lane. Maybe looking at some turret damage here, but I feel that even so, with Raid coming down, they should be able to deny too much happening there. So a Cloud Dragon is their consolation prize.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly not the prize you want at this stage of the game. 7,000 gold going to be the lead. You can see completed items coming out in spades right now for the Direwolves lineup. They're pretty much a full item ahead in most roles at this stage of the game, and now with the Ezreal, we're just going to look to kind of try and siege down turrets to the best of their ability.
Indeed. Baron buff is up, and this team has been split pushing very well in this game. This Baron buff's going to make it a nightmare for the Direwolf lineup here. Aurelia already in the top lane. Sylas kind of rotating from bot to mid here, but yeah, that top lane tier 2 turret there should fall in seconds, and this base here is going to be under siege in a moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, right now, what are the engage tools coming across, right? That's what you have to look at. Raze can land a really nice kick potentially, or it's going to have to be a bind.
Whoa!
Biopanther.
That was a lot of damage onto him.
Yeah, and that's not even the ultimate use. It's going to be channeled now. However, will not be aimed at Bio, so it should just be able to get back. But it's going to be the full 1-3-1 enacted. Every wave has Baron on it right now, and it's kind of nothing the Direwolves can do.
Absolutely not. That tier 2 top is dead. Tier 2 bot is also falling, and then we're going to be looking at the base turret and the inhibitors. Are they going to break through this quickly? Is it going to be a long siege? What can Direwolves do here? They are 5 strong. They're going to engage in the mid. Kick comes through. There goes the CC going down. The Luxalt is going to miss. Yumi's going to get him out. Raid is not the person you really want here. He is so mobile. Direwolves doing their best to engage on here. They're taking a lot of damage, but now Gravitas arrive, and they turn it around. There goes the Akali, there goes the Aatrox, and it's now a 3v5 as Gravitas move into the base.
Yeah, you can see Totoro now caught out. This might be it.
Absolutely, that base is falling. That first turret is going to fall the inhibitor as well, and with the Baron buff minions, you got to imagine Gravitas here can close it out. Katsurian Raze, the new players in this Direwolf lineup, are going to have to do a miracle hold here to hold this one off, but it looks like Gravitas, after 2 weeks, are finally looking to pick up their first win in this split of the OPL. We no longer have any team that hasn't got any win. They're going to clean up Katsuri. Raze is going to go back to the fountain, and they're going to finish out week 2 with a win.
Really beautifully played there from Gravitas, I feel like, start to finish. Early ganks coming through from Fralis, getting the crucial solo laners ahead, and then just the ability to be able to play that game out pretty stock standard, and this time around, without, you know, kind of the front line that they had yesterday versus Order, Direwolves didn't have any answers.
Absolutely. I'm actually kind of curious, because yesterday, Raze is a player, after watching that game, that I'm very curious about, because he had a fantastic game yesterday, and in that game, I didn't see what he did. Like, he was almost unimpactful.
Yeah, I agree, but also, all 3 of his lanes lost. And as a jungler, it is very hard, I'm going to say impossible, to impact any part of the map unless you have winning lanes. He's not a CC jungler, right? He's a guy that has to bring damage. And when you're already that far behind, that just means if you ever get counter-ganked by the Rek'Sai, then you're going to lose. Remember, he did burn summoner spells bottom lane, you know, at level 3.
That's true.
Lost tempo there. I'm sure that, you know, that was a call from Totoro, that the wave was pushing against the Gravitas bottom lane. There would have been kills, you know, mis-execution on the ganks, no binds land. So I think, you know, not necessarily Raze's fault. I think that was a Direwolves team that just got completely outdrafted and were always on a clock and never really able to regain control of the game.
Yeah, Pabu, though, he looked fantastic in that game on that Aurelia, especially during those team fights. It looked like in some of those fights, the Direwolves might be able to get away with it, and then Pabu would arrive, and he would clean up that Direwolves roster.
I don't know what to say. Like, Aurelia, real strong, so I expect to see the champion more and more in the coming weeks.
Absolutely. One final thing from you. Now that Gravitas have a win, what do you expect from them in the upcoming weeks?
I mean, I've always said the same thing about Gravitas. Their early game kind of has always been their weakest point. I feel like if they get to mid-game and they're able to set up their 1-3-1, they're a very good team. So they just need to be able to get to that stage. And I think that they sometimes confuse themselves in draft. Like, I just want this team to pick heavy 1-3-1. I want to see the team fight kind of dissipate. And then, you know, just be able to continue to close out these mid-games.
Absolutely. So now that we've got every team with a win in the league, how do you think looking forward? Is this now like a 8-horse race?
Yeah, I kind of think. I was speaking to a couple of people yesterday. I think this is one of the closest OPL splits I've seen. And I kind of think it's because the bottom has elevated, but the top also has dipped down a little bit. I think Chiefs haven't played their best League of Legends so far. I think that Order are playing pretty bad League of Legends so far as well. I think that, you know, the one team you would say is ahead of the pack right now is the undefeated Mammoth, but they still had some rocky games versus, you know, the Chiefs and co. So I think that, yeah, certainly, you know, the Legacies, the Gravitases, and the Direwolves of the world look much more impressive than they did last split. And we haven't seen Avant play at full strength yet as well, so they're a complete wild card.
Absolutely. Well, that's it from us. We're going to send it over to Chef Boy with the other chefs.
Thank you very much, Benji. I mean, Gravitas... This was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I'm excited that week 2 continues to just be like, I don't know anything about League of Legends.
It's an 8-horse race.
It's an 8-horse race.
That's what we need. And yeah, like, I like the fashion that they took down that game. Jake was kind of hitting on it, but it like is standard stuff. They get a good draft. Direwolves, unfortunately, like the lanes don't go their way. But Gravitas today, for me, looked like they've taken it back to basics, and it does echo some of the stuff the Jews were saying in the interview, right? They've been preparing. They feel like they have been performing a lot better in scrims, but this wasn't like a super flashy game. There wasn't like a super cheesy comp or whatever. They just kind of played a lot more cohesively. There are trends that we can kind of pick on in like this is like a first pick Yuumi, obviously very strong and in the hands of Decoy. Then they like to pair it with stuff like the Ezreal and stuff like that. But this was like standard stuff, get a lead, play the game out as you should, able to close out the first win of the season.
Can I ask, as a ex-pro, being in a Direwolf situation where like 1 week you could be, or 1 day you could be taking out a team that, you know, on paper you have no business beating, and then the next day completely the opposite, really. Like, what does this do mentally to a team who are learning how to play together?
You asking about failure? I can feel this.
Look at this hat.
It's hard, I guess. Like, when you look at the league and it's like, okay, like if I'm the Direwolves, right? And it's like, okay, on any given day, I can win versus people above me, lose to people below me, let's say. But it just speaks to kind of the closeness of the league and that there are actually good games happening. Like it's not like every game is like top versus bottom and everybody just gets shit on and it's like, okay, that was OPL. See you later, guys. Like that's not how it works. And yeah, I feel like
the new tagline. Everyone gets shit on.
Yeah.
It's OPL.
It's OPL.
You know what I mean? I guess it's good. I guess it does make it harder because there's more variance when you are learning to come together as a group, but like that's just the nature of competition. Everybody goes into every single day believing they can win, and if they didn't, then why are you playing?
But that's about mentality, right? Like if you're beating people like above you, but also losing to people below you, like that's how you respond to that. Like, are you find that inspiring, or are you like, oh man,
and
focus on the negatives and
like
can't deal with it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you don't get into like competitive stuff if you are like, oh man, like you lose a game, it's like, I suck so much.
Tried.
And I feel like a lot of people like when you can go deeper into mentality-wise, but it's very easy, and a lot of people do fall into the trap of like, oh, we beat a good team, we're so sick, lose to a bottom team, oh, it didn't matter, we were just trolling, you know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into it, but like, who knows?
All right, well, great drama for game number 1. The drama never stops as well because we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to blow up this microwave.
You don't know whether they're taking it. Totoro, no flag.
Wow, he's caught out. CC going in. Yumi's doing a ton. Team is getting picked off. It's a 1-for-1 as Prelitz goes down, but it's just the support going down. So Direwolves with 4 here. Looking to turn this one around. Haley on the front. Oh my god, Pabu is doing a ton of damage. Aatrox is dead. Firepan has to go over the wall. He arrives just in time. He's going to pick up a double kill and grab
Lane for Harry. However, now they want to engage.
Prelitz will jump on there. Pabu does get a CC down Totoro. He's getting jumped on. CC going down. Lee Sin and Raze is already dead. Totoro's followed up. The team can siege. What can Direwolves do here? They are 5 strong. They're going to engage in the mid. Kick comes through. There goes the CC going down. The Luxalt is going to miss. Yumi's going to get him out. Raid is not the person you really want here. He is so mobile. Direwolves doing their best to engage on here. They're taking a lot of damage, but now Gravitas arrive and they turn it around. There goes the Akali, there goes the Aatrox, and it's now a 3v5 as Gravitas move into the base.
Yeah, you can see Totoro now caught out.
Their first win in this split of the OPL. We no longer have any team that hasn't got any win. They're going to clean up Katsuri. Race is going to go back to the fountain, and they're going to finish out week 2 with a win.
Really beautifully played there from Gravitas.
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier and tastier, with onions added at the grill for more flavour, perfectly melted cheese and softer buns. They're the best Macca's burgers ever.
Welcome back to the LCS. Bryce,